Fly me to the moon. Let me play up there with those stars. Let me see what life is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words.
So, like I said before, I was very easy back then. But I saw something in him because he was sweet. He wasn't the typical guy I usually dated. I was really into that bad boy stage. And if I can give nobody else any advice, that I would say, young gals, just delete that section of your life. Leave the bad boys alone, unless you just want to have some life lessons and get your heart busted, or get literally busted. And it's just not worth it. I know that they're sexy and attractive, but here's the thing about nice guys, is they all have a bad side too, and you can cultivate that. A little black leather, a little policeman's uniform, little handcuffs, and you are good to go. And then you have a nice guy that's just a bad boy on TV. So he will be nice to you most of the time, but when you want to get spanked or whatever it is that trips your trigger, then you got somebody there that's happy to do it.
Hi, family.
My sister, that's an ex-nun. Hi. Well, we're just keeping it real. So anyway, I didn't want to sleep with him right away. So I waited a whole 2 weeks, I think. And then it was unbelievable.
And 2 weeks was nothing for me because I'd been in a relationship where I hadn't had any experiences in months and months.
And he was married. Oh, so he was the first lover that was so attentive to me, and that his part of it was just not nearly as important as what I was experiencing. And I had never, ever, ever had that before. So right away, he became the best lover I'd ever had, just from the attention and the wanting to please me so much. And I was used to having to do that for men, and not always just men, but for me anyway. But anyway, so this was a whole new experience for me.
And guys, for those of you that are actually watching this, first of all, good job submitting to your wife's wishes, watching this. And if you've submitted to her wish for you to see this, and maybe you don't need this tip, but it is important that you are very into what she is interested in. Way too many guys are just go for what they want, and then it's time to leave. Get out. Yeah. And I think that for a lot of women, they don't express an interest in sex because they haven't really experienced good sex.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think if you spend the time, it's worth the investment. And it actually shouldn't be an investment. It should be something you enjoy anyway. Think about your partner.
Mm-hmm. And I say, Jim's a great example of what doing a little research will do for you too. He read the Happy Hooker books, and he tried a lot of that stuff on me. And let me tell you, I was very appreciative to what was her name?
Xaviander Hollander.
Yes. Yeah, she is one of my goddesses. Thank you, wherever you are, probably dead. But anyway, yes, he researched, and he was anxious to try some of these things on a willing and, potential partner.
Well, the main thing was it was just things that were mostly focused on you, which, as you said, you hadn't really experienced anybody interested in pleasing you. Mm-hmm. Hard to imagine, but that, to me, that's always been important, is that I make my partner happy. Mm-hmm. And
Oh, hi, baby.
Oh, somebody's been.
Well, that was our guest speaker. They were just weighing in on our relationship video. I think we got the dog's approval. So, and what he said is so true that, and it's not even just in bed, even though that's what hooked me in. Because, you know, as the relationship progresses, he also took an interest in my things I was interested in. And usually I dated guys that on Friday and Saturday night, they went out with the boys. And either I went out with the girls or I stayed home. And that was kind of just the way it was in every relationship I'd been in. And finally I was with a guy that was like, well, why don't you come with us? Why am I going without you? And that just astonished me when you did that. It was just like, that had never happened to me either. And so for a little while, for a few weeks, we did pretty good. And then my brain freaked out. I freaked out. I own that. After we had been together in the, I don't want to say biblical, but in the marital sense, we'll say, after those first couple of weeks of just going out on dates, he says that he said, I love everything about you, and what I heard was, I love you. And I had just had my heart...
A subtle difference. One that she didn't get.
No, I had just had my heart broke by a guy that I was just almost obsessed with. I mean, I don't know how much I actually loved him as much as I was lusting after this guy. And I was not ready for that. I wasn't ready to be that vulnerable and open myself up like that. So I dumped him.
Like a hot potato.
It was horrible. It was horrible. I dread it to this day. But it was a learning experience. And then I started dating another guy that turned out to not be a very nice guy. And I also when I didn't point out that when I met Jim, I also was a single mom. And had little boys with me as well. And he took all that in too, you know, because anymore it's a package deal. Unless you catch them early, you know, and young, and even right out of high school, that's no guarantee they don't have kids. So, you know, if you really want to find the love of your life, you know, don't limit yourself to just single, kidless, never been married women, or you may never find your split apart. And so anyway, I dumped him. And when I dated this other guy, I needed to get out of there quick because I was worried about the safety of myself and my kids, and I knew he was in love with me, and so I used him. I called him and I said, we need a place to stay, I have no money. And he said, come on. And he did, and we moved in and never moved out.
Nope. Although it took a while for you to stop using me.
Oh, I know, I was horrible. I mean, if anybody's seen the movie Pretty Woman, this was before Pretty Woman, and I wasn't seeing anybody. I was all gun shy, and he just really wanted to be with me. And now I was living in his house, which made it just torturous. Poor guy.
Mm-hmm. Especially when she walked around the house in skimpy outfits.
And slept naked.
But not with me.
No, just naked. I just slept in sans clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, when we moved in, and I told him, I said, look, we both have physical needs that need to be met. So we can sleep together, but you can't kiss me on the mouth. It's too personal.
Now, a lot of you guys don't get it. I still think it's crazy, but whatever.
But at least I was validated by the movie Pretty Woman, because the hooker wouldn't kiss on the mouth either. What does that say about me? Oh, so anyway.
It was getting old giving her 20s all the time.
Oh, well, you were kind of my sugar daddy at that point. You were paying the bills, and I was just living off of you pretty much. So, and then came the night of the dream. After a couple of months of this living together, I could tell he was not as in love with me as he used to be. He was getting tired of pursuing me. He was getting tired of the rejection. I'm assuming that I can say this or speak for you. Maybe you just want
Well,
to
it wasn't being tired of it. It was just my heart was aching too much.
I love you. So, anyway, I could tell that he was about to start asking other women out and was going to stop pining for me. And I went to bed one night and I had this dream that we both went to a party and he met this gorgeous model that I think she was black, and she was just drop dead gorgeous. And he was like, well, can you find your own ride home? Because I'm going to go home with her. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yeah, you had your shot. You know, I waited a long time and you blew it. Now it's over and I'm done. And she wants me, and look at her. And so I'm out of here. And I woke up sobbing like a fool. And I called my best buddy and I was like, what does this mean? And she's like, it means you're in love with him, stupid. Now quit being such a douche knob and let him know that before you lose him. So you came home that night from work. I'll let you tell it.
Well, I came home and to be truthful, I was really just about to give her the news. Well, you know, I've decided to move on. And about that time, she meets me at the door and wraps me up in her arms and gives me a great big kiss, and I was totally stunned. Didn't know what to do. I just stared at her for a moment.
And he had just come home from work, and he was covered in diesel grease, and which makes his eyes look even bluer. It's crazy. And he had his work coveralls on, and because he's a heavy equipment mechanic.
I thought we were going to tell him I'm a doctor.
Oh yeah, gynecologist. Sometimes proctologist, just depends.
Edit. She shares sometimes a little much.
Oh boy, I may not edit that. I'm just letting you know, I may not.
Okay, well, it's a good thing actually one of my parents knows how to use the internet.
But they wouldn't watch my videos. Oh, well, if so, then we'll have some splaining to do at Christmas. But until then...
Awkward.
It's my channel, damn it. I put on there whatever the heck I want to.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play up there with those stars.